I'd had this left side panel pretty much done, but I cut out and put in the nose trim and the fuel selector valve, and had set those panels up, made new panels for those. I still needed to trim out that forward trim panel, the interior panel there on the left side where it come up underneath that fuel selector valve. I got that trimmed out, and then I put some nut plates on the panel there to use machine screws to put those panels on instead of just sheet metal screws. Sheet metal screws worked okay in there, and they probably would have been all right for a while, who knows how long, but I know they always get hogged out and somebody over torques them a little bit, and pretty soon you're up to a number 14 screw, and you started out with a number 4 or number 6. I had the top up there where the throttle goes, throttle control goes. I really liked the way that looked on there with just that side panel. It was a nice smooth curve over that top longeron there, and the slot cut out for it. It was real nice and clean. Problem was that there was no way to get to the throttle control itself to do any maintenance or anything on it. Now you could get to it now because there's no fabric on it or no cover on it back there, but as soon as the fabric is on that, covering goes on the airplane, then it gets so you can't get back in there to work on that again. So I bent up another little trim piece to fit over the outside of that. I cut a slot in the new outside trim panel there so we could slide it off from the throttle control when we need to do maintenance on it. Then I drilled a couple of holes down through that longeron, and I started drilling them number 6s, and then I changed my mind and drilled them number 4. And then instead of doing like I did on some of the other stuff, we're putting a nut zert in there, a thread zert in, I just drilled the hole out and tapped it for a number 4 machine screw. If it wears out, I can always drill it out to a number 6, and then I put a couple of nut plates on the main trim panel there, the big one on the back side of it, and then put a couple of screws in it to hold it on the front. There's a hole underneath this panel so we can get access to the mount for the throttle handle here. There's a nut on that holds that down, and then there's a friction in there to adjust the friction of the throttle, and we need to get access to that occasionally to adjust the friction. And then of course there's a throttle control cable goes through and is pinned into the throttle handle here. So there's a nice hole underneath there. This covers that up real well so we can get access to that throttle when we need to